Why do the people who feel the most destined hurt us the most? We speak of soulmates as if they are gifts, cosmic blessings, wrapped in beauty and bliss. But what if the soul's greatest ally is also its greatest mirror? What if the person who feels written into your bones is not here to complete you, but to confront you? Carl Jung didn't talk about love the way modern stories do. To Jung, attraction wasn't always desire. It was compulsion, a magnetic pull created by the unfinished business of your unconscious. He warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate. That quote is not about chance. It's about why the same souls keep showing up. It's about why you keep falling for people who break you open, not because you're cursed, not because you're broken, but because your soul is trying to awaken through the wound. In part 1 of this series, we explored the sacred pull of soulmates, how recognition runs deeper than logic, deeper than time. But this is what happens after recognition. This is the return, the repetition, the confrontation. Because the deeper truth is this: some soulmates do not arrive to heal you. They arrive to expose the part of you that still hides. And until that part is faced, they will keep coming back in new faces, new names, delivering the same sacred wound. This is not about romance. This is about revelation. And in this film, we explore why love, real, soul-level love, is often the fire that awakens the shadow you've spent lifetimes avoiding. They don't show up to save you. They show up to reflect you. That's the first truth no one tells you about soulmates. The feeling of deep recognition, of home, of inevitability, is not always because that person is your missing half. It's often because they carry the energy of the parts of you that you have not yet been willing to face. They are not completing you. They are revealing you. Carl Jung warned that every attraction is, at its core, a projection. We don't fall in love with people. We fall in love with the reflections of our own unconscious that we see in them. The beauty we can't claim, the shadow we've disowned, the potential we fear, the wound we never healed. And so we chase them, worship them, attach to them, not because of who they are, but because of what they awaken in us. This is why they feel familiar, because energetically they are. Not from another life perhaps, but from this one, from deep within your own psyche, from the inner archetypes that govern your desires. In Jungian psychology, this is the anima and animus, the inner feminine or inner masculine image that lives within you, formed through memory, trauma, belief, and longing. When someone in the external world matches that inner image, even slightly, your unconscious lights up. It screams, that's them. But it's not them, it's you, reaching for your reflection through someone else's eyes. So you fall into the connection. You don't walk, you plunge, you lose your edges, you idealize, you merge. And then, the real work begins. Because eventually, the mirror gets too close, the fantasy breaks, and suddenly, you're not being completed, you're being confronted. The very person who once made you feel whole, now makes you feel exposed, seen, judged, triggered, wounded. Not because they've changed, but because they've touched something you've never healed. That's when the soulmate becomes the sacred mirror. And that's where most people run. But running doesn't break the pattern, it repeats it. You'll find someone else, different face, same wound, same lesson, redressed in a new disguise. And once again it will feel meant to be. Because it is, not for romance, but for revelation. Because this is how the soul evolves, not through fairy tales, but through fire. Jung taught that everything unconscious in you will eventually be externalized. It will appear in the form of fate, in the form of attraction, in the form of that one person you can't forget. And it's not karma, it's not punishment, it's alchemy. You are being shown over and over what your ego wants to deny and what your soul cannot evolve without. This is the nature of soul contracts. They are not signed in comfort. They are signed in fire, in silence, and in shadow. You don't attract who you want. You attract who you are. You attract what reflects your inner state, not to wound you, but to wake you. And the people who activate you the most deeply, the ones who cause your inner world to quake, your walls to tremble, your patterns to unravel, those are the ones carrying the keys to your next level of awareness. But here's the truth most aren't ready for. Love is not always safe. Real love, soul-level love, often comes disguised as danger. It doesn't arrive to complete you. It arrives to strip away who you're not. It takes the mask from your face. It tears the role from your hands. It burns the illusion you built around your heart and leaves only what's real, raw, unresolved, unfiltered truth. That's not cruelty. That's consciousness. Soulmates are not the end of the journey. They are the threshold. They stand at the doorway between who you've been and who you're afraid to become. And when you meet them, you will feel it, not as ease, but as gravity. The pull is real, but it doesn't pull you toward them. It pulls you into yourself. The part of you that can't let go is not addicted to them. It's addicted to the part of you that you thought they would fix. But no one is coming to rescue you, not even your soulmate, because they weren't sent to complete the story. They were sent to show you where it still hurts. And the moment you stop running from that pain, the moment you look into that mirror and see not them, but you, that's the moment the mirror becomes a door, and you walk through it, not toward another person, but toward the truth of your own soul. That is the purpose of the mirror. That is why they came. Some people don't come to complete you. They come to break you open. And it hurts not because it's wrong, but because it's exactly right. We're told love is supposed to be soft, that soulmates are gentle, that when you find the right person, it will feel like peace. But the soul doesn't evolve through peace. It evolves through pressure, and pressure comes disguised as pain. Carl Jung understood this better than anyone. He knew that the unconscious doesn't knock politely. It crashes through the front door of your life in the form of heartbreak, tension, betrayal, and sacred chaos. Because pain has a purpose, to wake you up from the sleep of who you thought you were. It is not the opposite of love. It is the catalyst for it. You meet someone, and everything in your nervous system lights up. Not just attraction, but memory. Not just longing, but terror. Because that person carries an energy that touches something ancient inside of you. A wound, a story, a scar that was never given voice. And now it's alive again. They didn't hurt you. They activated you. They opened a sealed chamber in your psyche, where the pain of your unloved parts still lives. And in doing so, they brought it to the surface. That's why it aches, because it's not about them. It's about what they touched. The sacred soulmate does not just kiss your light. They confront your shadow. And that confrontation, if you let it, becomes alchemy. This is where most people run. They call it toxic. They say, I deserve better. They want the feeling without the fire. But fire is not cruelty. It is cleansing. The ancient alchemist said, no transformation without burning. And the soul follows the same law. So it sends you the person who cracks your armor, who pokes your patterns, who pulls the thread that unravels the lie you call your identity. And you hate them for it, but you also can't look away. Because something in you knows, this is where the healing lives. You think they're breaking your heart, but what they're really breaking is the shell that kept your real self buried. Jung said the shadow is everything we refuse to see in ourselves. But soulmates, they see it, and if they're sacred, even if they're flawed, they will bring it forward, not gently, not with ease, but with purpose. The pain they trigger is not the wound they give you, it's the wound they reveal. And until you sit with that pain without blaming them, without running, without numbing, you will keep finding new faces to reopen the same scar. This is the spiral of return. This is the karmic loop. This is the sacred pain your soul keeps choosing, because your ego keeps resisting it. But here is the deeper truth. The pain was never the enemy. It was the initiation. It was the teacher. It was the moment your soul screamed, I will not let you keep avoiding this. And so the person came, and your body lit up, and your heart collapsed, and your story cracked open, not for punishment, but for rebirth. Because this ache, this confrontation, this unraveling, is where you finally meet yourself. Not the version you perform, not the role you protect, but the self beneath the survival. And it will burn, and it will change you, and it will make you think you've lost something. But all you've lost is the lie. What remains is what's always been waiting, the part of you ready to become whole. You don't just meet them once, you meet them again, and again, and again. Different name, different body, same soul, same wound, same lesson, waiting to be learned. This is a spiral of return, and it is not random. It is not punishment, it is pattern. Carl Jung taught that what we fail to make conscious does not vanish, it reappears, not gently, but rhythmically. Like a song your soul can't stop humming, like a loop you didn't choose, but also never escape. You may think you're choosing them, but something deeper is choosing through you. The unconscious, that vast ocean beneath your awareness, is pulling you toward people who match the vibration of your inner wounds. Not because your soul enjoys pain, but because pain is the pressure that breaks the spell. You keep meeting the same soul in different forms, because the lesson isn't complete. Because some part of you is still asleep, still unresolved, still projecting the original ache onto new faces. And so the spiral continues. Each encounter feels fated, charged, sacred. And it is, but not because they are the one. Rather because they are the one who reflects the thing you haven't integrated yet. Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You'll say, why does this always happen to me? Why do I keep attracting the same kind of person? But it's not just them. It's not about who they are. It's about what they activate. You're not attracting people. You're attracting mirrors. And until you stop running from what they reveal, you will keep circling back to the same fire. This is the sacred cruelty of love. It repeats until it reveals. It returns until you remember. And the spiral doesn't stop because you finally found the right person. It stops because you finally became the right version of yourself, who no longer needs to repeat the old script. But this requires stillness. It requires you to stop blaming them. It requires you to look at what they awaken in you, and how that discomfort points to something deeper than them. You must ask, who was I before the wound? What part of me keeps recreating this story? And what is this pain trying to show me that I still haven't seen? Because here's the truth. The soul doesn't attract ease. It attracts growth. And growth always comes in the form of friction. You don't just attract love. You attract the opportunity to confront what you think love is. And every time you say, but it feels so familiar, know that you're standing at the edge of another spiral, and you have two choices. Collapse into the pattern again. Pause long enough to trace its origin. The spiral is ancient. It lives in your lineage, your childhood, your karma, your soul's story. And most people spend a lifetime circling it without ever realizing they're in it. Because it doesn't look like a trap. It looks like attraction. It feels like magic. It burns like love. But it's the kind of love that arrives to burn down what is false. So what is true can finally emerge. You think it's about getting back to them. But it's really about getting back to yourself. The part of you that got left behind. The first time you gave your power away in the name of connection. That's the real spiral. The ache that started long before them. The story that repeats until you rewrite it. And the moment you realize that every them is just a different version of the same unresolved reflection, the spiral slows. The pattern pauses. The fire becomes a mirror. And the pain becomes prophecy. Because the soul isn't trying to punish you. It's trying to bring you back to the part of yourself you forgot to love. And so it calls in the person who makes you feel everything at once. Desire, fear, recognition, grief. You mistake it for love, but it's deeper than that. It's an invitation to reclaim the parts of you that you only ever accessed through someone else. Once you do that, once you integrate what was scattered and sit with what you once ran from, the cycle ends. The attraction becomes wisdom. The fire becomes peace. The reflection becomes reunion. Not with them, with yourself. That's how the spiral finally breaks. Not with a new soulmate, but with a new self. There is a moment in the spiral when the pain no longer destroys you, it reveals you. And in that moment, you are invited to wake up, not spiritually, not conceptually, but emotionally, psychologically, energetically. You're invited to see that the story you've been calling love has always been a reflection of what you believe you deserve, and that belief, most often, was shaped in your shadow. Carl Jung said that everything that remains unconscious governs our lives and masquerades as fate. But fate is not a sentence, it is a signpost. And the moment you become aware of the loop, you are no longer inside it, you are witnessing it. That's where the real awakening begins. Not with more love, not with closure, not even with healing. It begins with observation. You begin to notice. The ache was familiar. The feeling was ancient. The pull wasn't to a person, it was to a pattern. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. But seeing is not enough. You must respond. That's the invitation. Not to avoid love, but to enter it differently. To stop chasing what feels magnetic and start asking, what does this pull awaken in me? What am I trying to fix through this person? What part of me is still waiting for permission to be seen? Because when you're unconscious, you think they're the one, but when you awaken, you realize they were the mirror of the one within you that still needed to come home. The wound you thought they would heal is the one you finally learned to hold. This is what individuation means, to become whole, to gather the lost fragments of yourself that you once outsourced to others, to realize that the love you've been begging for was never something another soul could give you, because it was you, all along you were waiting to receive. And this doesn't mean the pattern vanishes. It means you face it consciously. You feel the ache, and you sit with it. You feel the pull and you question it. You feel the chemistry and you ask yourself, is this love, or is this survival dressed in fate? That question alone can break the cycle, and what comes next is not comfort, it's clarity. Because when you stop needing the soulmate to awaken you, you become the one who awakens yourself. The spiral ends, not when they stop returning, but when you stop abandoning yourself every time they do. The real soulmate was never a person, it was the version of you that lives on the other side of the wound. And waking up is simply the act of remembering that. So if you feel the mask slipping, if the illusion is cracking, if the pattern is tightening its grip, don't numb it. Don't run from it. Don't name it fate, just to avoid naming it fear. Stay, watch, listen, feel everything. Because that sacred discomfort is not here to break you, it's here to open the door. And the moment you walk through it, you step out of the spiral and into the only love that ever lasts. The love that doesn't come from being chosen, but from choosing yourself when no one else could. Waking up is not a single moment, it's a slow returning. And real awakening doesn't mean you stop feeling, it means you start feeling everything without abandoning yourself in it. It's easy to intellectualize your patterns, to say, I attract the wrong people, to label every mirror as toxic, to explain your wounds without ever sitting inside them. But sacred integration doesn't happen in your head, it happens in your body, it happens in your nervous system, it happens in the quiet spaces where no one is watching. This chapter isn't about finding answers, it's about creating space for what's already been trying to speak. Not fixing, but facing. Not rushing, but remembering. Below are invitations. Not rules, not checklists, but sacred prompts meant to bring you back to the center of the spiral and show you that you've been holding the mirror all along. What part of me do I abandon when I fall in love? Let this be raw, unfiltered. What parts of yourself do you silence to be chosen? What do you hide so you feel safe? Let the page receive it all. When did I first learn that love meant pain? Go back, before the last relationship, before the first heartbreak. What memory does your body still hold that shaped your definition of connection? Find it, name it, feel it. What do I keep chasing in others that I haven't yet given to myself? This is the core, where the projections live, where the longing points not outward, but inward. Close your eyes. Place one hand on your heart, one on your stomach. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale through the mouth for 6. Do this slowly, gently. Let your body know it is safe now to feel. Repeat the silent phrase, I do not need to be loved to remember who I am. Sit in front of a mirror, light a candle, look into your own eyes. Ask, what have I been trying to find in someone else that already lives here? Then say out loud, even if it feels strange, I am not unfinished. I am not broken. I am coming home. These practices are not solutions. They are sacred interruptions. They pause the spiral. They shift the momentum. They show your unconscious, I am listening now. Carl Jung believed that healing doesn't come from perfection. It comes from wholeness, from reclaiming what you've disowned, from holding the shadow, not fighting it. So let this chapter be not an ending, but a sacred pause. The moment you stop reaching outward and start turning inward, you don't need another soulmate to show you you are. You don't need another heartbreak to finally listen. You just need to slow down long enough to hear the part of you that never left. The one who always knew, this pattern isn't love. This pain isn't fate. This silence is the doorway back to myself. Not every soulmate comes to stay. Some come to show you where you left yourself. They arrive like lightning, beautiful, burning, unforgettable. And when they leave, what remains is not just memory, but meaning. Pain isn't proof that it wasn't love. Sometimes pain is proof that it was, but not the kind of love we romanticize. Not comfort, not completion, but the kind of love that sees you fully and refuses to let you keep lying to yourself. Carl Jung said, you meet yourself in the other, and that meeting can feel like magic, or war, or both. But once you've seen your reflection, you cannot go back to sleep. The soul doesn't allow it. And so you begin to wake up, not all at once, but slowly, painfully, beautifully. You stop chasing, you stop blaming, you stop asking why them, and start asking what is this showing me? That's the shift. That's the moment the spiral loosens its grip. It was never about finding the one. It was about becoming the one who no longer trades pieces of themselves for the illusion of being chosen. And when you become that, when you stop searching for your wholeness in someone else, something changes. You no longer need the mirror to break you open, because now you can see yourself without it. That's what this was all for. Not the person, not the closure, not the answers, but the return to the part of you that always knew. This wasn't about them. This was about me, about what I hadn't seen, about who I'm still becoming. So if you're still hurting, you're not behind. You're not broken. You're waking up. And that is not a collapse, it is a beginning. You are not a wound, you are a witness, and your soul has been waiting for this exact moment to remember itself. Let this be that moment.